Welcome back for another book review. Today we are talking about Egyptian prosperity magic, spells, and recipes for financial empowerment. And this is by Claudia R. Dillaire. So this book was one that I had gotten in the Witch's Moon box years ago, and when I first read through it, again, we're going through the books that I already own. So initially when I had read through this when it came out, I don't know, like 2017-ish, I wasn't a big fan of it because the spells are very repetitive. However, this time reading through it, I decided to keep something in mind. I decided to ask my husband his thoughts on the spells, and I read it through one of them with him, and I was like, well, you know, like, it's basically the same thing, and then you just change this little bit of verbiage here, and don't you think that that would get really annoying and obnoxious? And he's like, no. Which was very surprising. I did not anticipate that answer. When I kept that in mind, and his reasoning is that, as a beginner, it would be nice to get the repetitive motion down of how to do a spell. You get the general format of it, and then you just change it just a little bit here and there for the specific need. And honestly, a lot of spells typically follow some kind of format. You kind of get into your niche of whatever one's going to work for you, and that's how you do your spells. And he was like, you know, honestly, like, the verbiage is great to have anyways, because, like, he has a hard time writing spells, and for me, that's never been an issue. So it's like, it's one of those where, like, sometimes it's nice to have, like, a spouse that I can bounce ideas off of. And that's been one of the biggest complaints with this book, is that it really is very repetitive in the way that they go about the spells. And so initially I had hated it, but this time I actually read through each one where it was the variant, because at some point you know what it's gonna say. And honestly, that verbiage that is repeated is really nice. I do like it. I kind of wish it was a little different personally, but I can see the benefit for other people. And really, you're not probably going to be casting every single spell, so it's fine. But I actually ended up really liking a majority of the spells. Well, I should say I liked the first section. There's two sections of spells. The first section was phenomenal. Again, once you get past the repetitiveness, it really was a good resource. Specifically because there was a lot in here for creatives. Whether you're a writer or an artist of some kind, there's a lot of the spells that are, like, applicable or easily changed to be applicable to this field. And you don't find that often in books, so that was kind of nice. And honestly, I was like, ooh, I like this option. This is great. Now, when you get to the second section of spells, this is where she kind of lost me, and especially in, it's just so ironic, because the same verbiage that she used for this book in, I don't know, I think it came out in like 2017 or somewhere around that ballpark is when I got it. It might have come out a little sooner, but whatever. The moral of the story, the same verbiage is used continuously throughout our lifetimes. It's the inflation, the debt that our country is in, how much it sucks to go to the grocery store and to the gas pump. Like, the same things that we're complaining about now, we've been complaining about for years. And it's just always fun to read and be like, nothing's changed. However, I will say this. That section was not particularly helpful. And that's coming as somebody who, we're like really strapped for cash right now. And these spells were not helpful. It's like, cut your latte down to one a week. It's more of like, oh no, I can't buy everything that I want at the store and I can't get takeout. And it's like, yep, we've been there a while ago. That's cool. And it just other stuff, and it was like, then it goes to the extremes of like, then if you're filing bankruptcy, and it's like, there's a real big gap between those two scenarios of existence. And honestly, that section just, it felt a little bit like she hasn't experienced that, so she's just kind of guesstimating on how it would be realistically. And honestly, I could kind of feel it in it. I really doubt that she's experienced a lot of that stuff and really had to go through that. Again, we're talking like you're really, like you're one paycheck away from everything falling apart levels of really hurting for cash. So anyways, other than that, this book was really good. I do wish it had a conclusion because it doesn't, and that's just one of those things that I don't know why authors kind of got away from that for a while. I like a conclusion to a book. It feels really weird to just like end the book spontaneously. Because we just suddenly jump into the appendix and it's like, oh, okay, well, I guess we're there now. So anyways, overall, I think it's a good book. There's a lot of these that I think I would be adding into my Book of Shadows to use either occasionally, and even some of them, they would be good for like when I do like a book release or I'm starting a book or whatever. Like there's a lot that's really good for the creative, which was really nice. So anyways, that is going to be my thoughts on this book. I would love to hear yours in the comments down below. Huge thank you to my patrons. I'll have their names here on the screen. If you'd like to support me and get access to exclusive content, it is patreon.com/nightwillowcrafts. Make sure to like and subscribe. I post every single day, and until next time, thank you so much for watching, and blessed be.